Hi, and welcome to the Fit Warrior Life podcast. I'm your host, Chitra Rojlani, NASM certified weight loss and body transformation coach. This podcast is focused on debunking myths, providing inspiration, tools, and resources to help you get in the best shape of your life, no matter what age, stage, or phase you're in. In this podcast, you will get to hear from real life warriors who are killing it in their fitness journey so they can inspire you. I will also bring in experts from different fields in the wellness arena so they can help us live our best life. And of course, since this entire journey began with my personal weight loss of 80 pounds 6 years ago, I will be sharing all of my biggest life lessons I have learned through the struggles and triumphs that I went through. My motto is win the mind, win the body, and I want to help you do just that. So let's get right to it. In today's podcast, we're going to hear from Marisa, one of my all-time favorite warriors who joined my Empowered Weight Loss program after having gained some weight during the quarantine period. Listen to her journey about how she decided that it was time to take action. Hey, Marisa, welcome to
Hi,
the
Chitra.
podcast. I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited to have you here today. Thank you so much for doing this.
You've been such an inspiration. It's a pleasure for me to share my
Oh,
experience.
awesome. All right, so let's get right to it. I want to, before we even talk about our experience together, take me back to a time before you met me, before you started working with me. What were some of the things that you were doing to stay fit or get in shape? Did you have a routine? Was there something that you were doing consistently? Talk us through that.
So, exercise has always been a challenge for me. Doing it has been a challenge. Being consistent with it has been a challenge. So, before I met you, I was actually going to a gym, and I was going 3 to 5 times a week. It fit into my schedule. It was first thing in the morning, and then I would, come home, be done for the day. And of course, once the pandemic hit, life changed and the gyms closed down, and I was left to um, finding a way to keep up with my routine. And of course, because it's always been a challenge, I fell off of the exercise bandwagon. Um, so I was trying to, do walking and do some Zoom classes and everything on the internet, but it wasn't working for me at the time.
Yeah.
I think the hardest part too is taking that first step, that you have these conversations in your head, and then you think you can do it alone, but then you can't do it alone, and then you're afraid to just take that first step. And what was refreshing for me is being with this group of women was, you take that first step, you're still fearful, but then once you join the group and you start to talk with the group, you realize, you know what, I'm not alone in how I'm feeling. Everybody feels the same way. And the struggle is real. We're
Absolutely.
all struggling, between in one way or another. We all have our thing, and we're all dealing with family situations and work situations. And I just took comfort in being with people who were going through the same things that I was going through.
Yeah. And that's so important, especially as women. I think that we need that. We need that support, we need that community. We need to feel like we're part of a group. And it just, I know for me personally, like when I went through my weight loss, that was a big part of it. What were, some of your fears when you started the program?
So for me, the first 3 weeks were hard because it was a lot of change. But then after that, I felt more relaxed about it. I felt like it got easier. I felt like my mindset, was changing and getting into the groove. And I was never felt like I was perfect, and I never felt like I was doing everything right all the time, but I felt like I was making progress. And then I started to see that progress in the scale and in the inches and in how I was
Yeah.
feeling, in my energy level, and just how I felt about myself and how I was projecting myself to others.
Oh my God, so many great things that you just said there. It is a lot of change. And I always tell people, like, I'm very anti gimmick and anti quick fixes. So I'm going to teach you how to do this for the rest of your life, but it's not going to be easy. It is going to take time and it is going to take getting used to. But in terms of, just wrapping your head around all of that, I think what you said about progress, not perfection, and that's something that I try to keep reminding everybody, even in the new group I have right now, it doesn't have to be perfect. I think that this is a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves, which is unnecessary. We don't need to. But I'm glad to hear that, that support from the group was helpful. We got on calls every week. I know that that was something that everybody says was helpful to them. Do you feel like that was an important part of having that support and accountability there?
Yes, I think it was very helpful. Again, being with a group of women who were all different, yet we're all struggling with similar things. I feel like if, one of us was struggling in one area, the rest of us were trying to support that person and bring them up. Through the Facebook group, we would comment on our, meal planning, we'd comment on our exercise. If somebody was struggling, we'd be cheering them on, to come on, you can do your run or get outside or do whatever. That part was very helpful. Um, I felt like the accountability helped me because I wanted to be good during the week because I knew that the next week I would have a check-in and I wanted to go into that feeling good. Or if I was struggling with something, it was a safe place to talk about what I was struggling with and to hear what other people are struggling with. And I felt like we all helped each other
Oh,
out.
absolutely.
Um, the other part too is there were weeks when I was having, thoughts, and then we'd go into the check-in, and it was almost like you were in our heads and kind of were preempting how we were going to be feeling or knew what we were feeling without us saying that. And that was interesting to me because post meeting, then I would think about that conversation and it kind of helped me get um, through that. And I can't think of a specific example, but once you get past the 3 or 4 weeks and you see yourself losing a little bit of weight, you start to feel a little bit comfortable. You might feel like taking a step back. And I think it was, in terms of that you were like, no, now you're going to be feeling like, oh, I crave this or I crave that. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's inside my head. How does she know?
I have
But
that
then
uncanny power.
yeah, your tips and advice, like it would help me, carry through or get away from myself to be on track for the following week. So I felt like
Yeah.
that was important with the check-ins as well.
Let's talk about some of your amazing results because you were like a rock star. You had some amazing changes that happened to your body. Where are you now? Like, let's talk about, I mean, I know you lost in the first month, you lost what? Almost like seven,
And the 7 pounds, I think.
seven in the first
Um,
month, which is
in the
mind
first
blowing.
month, yeah, which was a big achievement because I would try to do it myself and lose like maybe 3 pounds, 4 pounds, and then fall off the wagon. And that was healthy weight loss. I never felt like I was deprived or anything like that. I think the second month was 4 or 5. I don't remember.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. 4 pounds, I think you lost in the second month, where are you at now total? How much have you lost?
so total is about 15. I feel like, I've learned moderation and portion control. And I'm mindful about how I eat and what I eat when.
Yeah.
The changes that I made within the program, I still continue to follow through with those changes now. And my goal is, to continue on the weight loss journey. In
That's
terms of
fantastic.
inches, I think we calculated overall I lost 20 inches, which is crazy. um,
Your before and after, and I'm going to try to link it later when I post this, but it was mind blowing for me to see the change in your body and really just even in your face, like you
yeah.
reverse aged almost. Like there was this, it almost looked like it was your younger sister. Or how do you feel overall? Like, do you see a difference in how you function every day?
Yeah, I feel better. I think you feel more empowered when you feel good about yourself. And I feel like I was lacking some confidence. Self-confidence has always been an issue for me. And when I'm heavy, I feel less confident. When you feel good about yourself, you project yourself better, you feel more confident. For me, that's been huge to change that, and it just trickles over into everything. It trickles over into how I feel with my work colleagues, how I feel with my husband, how I feel in my clothes, how I
Yeah,
feel when I
so
just go to the
true.
grocery store, like it's nice to put on clothes and like I look in the mirror and I'm like, "Oh, I have a waist. Oh, I can see this little waist go like this." Like, I had all that when I was younger, but I kind of lost sight of all of it and, through the aging process and bad habits and life and everything. So,
Yeah.
just feeling good like that and just feeling smaller makes me feel better.
Absolutely. And it's so true, what you said about confidence and, so much of it depends on how we look and how we feel about ourselves, and when you feel good, you project that. Absolutely. 100%. Let's talk about the workouts. I know that in the beginning, those were a big struggle for
They
you.
still are.
Well, because I keep making them harder.
The workouts have been awesome, but I never feel like, "Oh, hey, I got this," because it's true, you do make them harder, which is what you plan to do and need to keep doing. Um, but I can tell the difference in my strength. Uh, it's from like how walking up the stairs. This is going to sound silly. It's when I use a public bathroom now, like being able to squat, squat without touching anything and stay like that. I'm
It's
like,
a
this is
skill.
because I do, it's a skill that I can do this because of boot camp. Um, and that's probably a silly thing, but no, I can feel like the strength. I can feel the strength in my arms and just overall. And it wasn't easy. And some days when I work out, I feel and I do a specific exercise, I feel like, oh, wow, I couldn't do this before. So, oh, I can do it better. Gosh, I've gotten stronger.
Yeah, I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit there. You're kicking ass in those classes. Let's talk about, the workouts you were doing before, because you were going to a gym, you were working out. Do you find there's a difference between these workouts and those workouts? Or is it, and especially being
Yes.
virtual?
Yeah. So, I do. So, first of all, I would say that you care about us and how we're doing the workouts and our form and how we do the exercises. And one of my um, observations with my former gym was, I mean, it was a group class. If we were doing exercises wrong, nobody was correcting us, nobody was challenging us, and I felt like one of my complaints, if you will, was like I felt like they didn't care about me. And I totally feel differently with working out with you because I feel like you care about us, you care about how we do the exercises, you care about us in general. If you see one of us struggling, on the screen, you're like, "Come on, you can do it. Come on, come on." I think that for me that's hugely important because I don't want to just be like a number. Um, and I don't want someone not to care. If I'm doing something incorrectly, I want someone to tell me how to do it correctly because that's the only way I'm going to benefit from it. So for me, that's a big difference. I like the virtual classes with you. From a geographical perspective, if we were live, I probably wouldn't be able to work with you because of just geography and where I need to be at certain hours and whatnot. But, this virtual environment is perfect for me. I have the best commute to go down the stairs to my basement in the morning and, enjoy those 45 minutes and work my butt off and then, go and start my day. I work out in the morning. That's what works for me. And that's, I can check that off the list.
All right. So let's talk about what you would say to somebody who's listening right now and identifying with your story and kind of feeling in that rut, feeling stuck. Like, what got you to take that first step? Like you said, the first step is the hardest. I always say I used to say when we were in the gym, getting to the gym is 80% of the battle. Once you're there, you want to do good. So what would you say
Yeah.
to somebody who's kind of like in a rut, trying to come out of it and struggling?
I would say take the first step, trust the process. Rome wasn't built in a day. It took you a long time to get to where you are. It's going to take time to get you to where you want to be, but take the first step because if you don't take the first step and then break it down into pieces, you don't have to fix everything and change everything all at once. Focus on what you can change and don't try to control the process either. Just let it happen and don't give up on yourself. It really is a process and you have to take it one day at a time and don't beat yourself up. You say, oh, I don't give myself enough credit. I am my own worst critic and I beat myself up a lot and always think I should be doing more. And I think we as women, we always think we should be doing more. Well, maybe what you're doing today, just taking that first step and starting the process is where you need to be and enough for today and worry about tomorrow. Um, and just trust the
Love that.
process. I mean, for
I
me, it
couldn't
was
have
a
said
great
it better.
experience. No,
That's
for me, it
yeah.
was a great experience, and I loved the women that were in our group. Um, I'm continuing to work out with you, so that's a testament to you and what I learned over the 90-day challenge and for how I feel about you. And I trust the process, and I trust that, moving forward, I'll still continue to do the work and see more
Awesome.
results.
I love it. I love it. So that was a great, great conversation. And I hope that, people listening are identifying with you and are able to get inspired by your success because it really is inspiring to have watched you go from where you were to where you are now. And I love having you in class and I love continuing to kick your butt and watching you transform and get stronger. So thank you so much for doing this. I really, really appreciate you coming on and sharing your journey so openly with us. And I know that it's going to
Well,
resonate with a lot of people.
Well, it was my pleasure, Chitra. I mean, if I can help one other person and help them to get to a better place, then it's well worth it. You said this a couple times. Taking that first step is the hardest. Getting out of your own head is sometimes the hardest. Um,
Yeah. Well, I'm
but
glad you did. I'm glad we got to meet and I'm glad we got to work
me
together and get to know
too.
each other.
Me
Thanks again,
too.
Marissa. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Chitra.
How awesome was that? Another episode in the books. I want to hear what your favorite takeaways were from today's episode. Don't be shy. Write to me in my DMs or tag me on social media and let me know what your favorite part was. What is one actionable item that you are going to take away from today? Because we can listen all we want, but if we don't implement, then we're not getting anywhere closer to our goals. So thanks again for being here. Thanks for listening. Thank you for being a part of my warrior tribe. I appreciate every single one of you. And I would love it if you would hit subscribe or leave a review because that will help me get to more people that need to hear this.